Now, this is a chart showing that the social unrest caused a loss of GDP of 3.7%. And if we use the same calculation method, then we can say that for the first half of 2020, the loss of GDP is 6.4%. Now, how do I get 6.4%? If you think about it, it is really that assuming that Hong Kong would have grown somewhere between 3 and 4% if there were no COVID, right? So you don't have that. And in addition, you have the negative growth, which annualized would be about 4.5%. You add them together, this would give you something like 6.5%. 11.4% was predicated on the assumption that the third quarter, our economy will contract by approximately 9%. Okay, and then hopefully in the fourth quarter we'll do a little bit better, and it will contract by about 5%. Right, so the total 11%. But I'm actually confident that if we can actually control COVID-19 and there's no recurrence of social unrest, that we will be in positive growth for the first quarter of next year. Okay. But let me emphasize the need for additional economic stimuli, okay? Because we cannot rely on the private sector to increase investment or the private sector to increase consumption in a significant enough way. So you need to have additional. And the other thing to remember, though, is that Hong Kong, because of the linked exchange rate system, we don't have an independent monetary policy. Right? Our interest rate basically follows the U.S. interest rate, set by the Federal Reserve Board. Okay, so we have no monetary. So the only thing we can do is to take concrete fiscal measures. All right, and I think we already did with the cash relief payments. We have 3 waves, but I think that cannot last forever. It's not sustainable. So now is the time to consider public investment or public expenditure. That is basically to change the expectation. You need to change expectations so people have a good feeling about the future, so they will invest and they will consume. And that is actually very, very important, is to turn the expectations around. So what we really need to do is to have government actually do some public investment or public consumption to create more jobs and create more GDP. Okay, I think that is really the key, is to have real economic stimulus. You need public investment, public expenditures. I mean, I support reclamation, and I support all sorts of things, the third runway, but they will take time. They will not create enough local employment to make a difference. You want to do things that will create local employment quickly and with very little import requirements. Now, so the other thing I want to say, and that is to become the premier offshore renminbi center in East Asian wide stock exchange, a venture capital, R&D, and startup center. Okay, if you think about it, Shenzhen and Hong Kong combined, okay, is actually going to be much more advantageous than Silicon Valley and NASDAQ together. And what we need to do is to try to create and realize synergies in the Greater Bay Area, okay, because that is really our future. Because if you really think about, I think U.S.-China relations will not be improved for a long time, okay? All right, so we really, I think our future really is to take advantage of the GBA and try to do the best we can. But of course, we can also use our traditional ties with Southeast Asia and with Europe to try to make it